Hey guys, so we got the radiators all done. I gotta hook them up and then obviously pressure test them. That's a piece that's not connected, so that's disregard that. But ripping up the floor and gonna put down plywood to do it right. I was gonna put down like Luan board, this stuff. On the other side, it's got the X's and everything to line everything up and make sure it's square and true. When you put this stuff down, though, a lot of people make a mistake of screwing it down and you cause divots. And then when you lay down your laminate flooring or whatever flooring of your choice, you will end up seeing those imperfections. So the ideal way to put this board down is to use liquid nails, subfloor, and then put staples. And you use the large grade staples. I forgot the size. I think it's like 5/16. Forgive me. I'll try to double check that, and I'll fit it in somewhere. But yeah, I was just gonna go over this existing flooring, and I realized, you know what, man? It's not worth it. There's a lot of squeaks in the floor everywhere because they use those old style nails to nail these floors in, which nothing was wrong with that. The problem was over time these nails get loose, and from walking, from the weight pushing down on the wood and then coming back up, it creates it to get loose wherever the nails are, and then you get squeaks and stuff. So I mean, I would have had to put screws, and the ideal way to do it is every 4 to 6 inches where there's a rafter. And so like on this subfloor where you see all these nails, that's where a rafter is. So I would have had to run screws all the way down across this whole flooring, and it would have took up unnecessary material cost. And not only that, at the end of the day, look at what was underneath of this flooring. This paper underlayment. This stuff is garbage. Look. Okay, and let me tell you something a lot of people don't know. Silverfish love this stuff. It's like having food under your floor for cockroaches, because silverfish, they reproduce like cockroaches. Okay, and the best thing to get rid of silverfish is food grade Demetrius earth. And when you do a renovation like this, when everything's said and done and inspections are passed, you could put the Demetrius earth dust inside all your 2x4s in between. Just dust it all in there, and you'll never ever get silverfish. And you just put the sheetrock and close it up, and it's animal and people safe, completely safe, because it's food grade. But make sure that you know that to get food grade Demetrius earth, because the other stuff is poison, literally poison. And you could die if you breathe that in, and you can hurt your pets too. And I just want to, for reassurance, make sure to show you so you know the exact spelling and the exact type. Diatomish earth. Forgive me, I cannot pronounce it. USDA food grade. Okay, this stuff is awesome, man. You put this all around the foundation of your house when you know there's going to be no rain for a week, and it literally cuts into termites, exoskeleton, silverfish, any kind of basically invertebrate, I think it's called, type insects, where they have the exoskeleton outside. They have basically like a moist outside, and it cannot be dried out. Well, that stuff will dry their body out and they will die. They'll die fast and you will eliminate your problem, believe me. I did a lot of research and a lot of homework on this stuff because I don't want to put poisons around my house. I don't want to hurt wildlife or anything like that. And this is the stuff you want to use for the subflooring to put under the Luan board. You could also put this along your rafters underneath, in between the subfloor, and then screw down your plywood. Don't use nails, you'll have squeaks. Never use nails. And remember to keep your screws 4 to 6 inches apart and you'll be fine. You won't have squeaks. But yeah, just figured I'd share this with you guys. We're just banging this out. I cut the floor across with the sawzall, the circular saw, I'm sorry. And I had my son follow me with the abatement bucket. This thing is great because all your dust goes in here first and it prevents you from wasting filters and bags constantly. So you want to get one of these low pro dust deputy bucket tops. The only thing I learned is the bucket is so sealed, it creates a vacuum inside and it collapses the bucket. It'll literally implode the bucket, okay? It's a pain in the ass. So what I did is, you notice the glue on the outside here? I glued 2 buckets together, so now it has much more strength and it doesn't implode anymore. And I put a weight, I put a metal weight in the bottom to help prevent the bucket from tipping over as you're walking your hose around. And then this thing's great. And I put black tape usually around these because sometimes these pop off and boom, you saw that? You saw how quick the dust just came out of there? But, you know, that was silly of me, but I wanted to show you guys how important this thing is. It is so air sealed. So I wrap Gorilla black tape around this, or you could use gray tape, real tight to keep these locked. But I am going to modify these with metal clips. I'm going to modify these 100% to make sure they don't pop out anymore. And I'll use like a wing nut or something like that so I could quick disconnect and dump this. Prior to dumping this, I pour water in there. I pour like a gallon of water in it and soak it in the dust. And then I mix it too. Because the dust is so light that the dust will come up and the water will sit halfway in between. You'll go to dump it and then you'll get the dust from the bottom to puff out all over the place in the air. So you got to pour a gallon of water and mix it in all the sawdust and whatever dust you have. And yeah, that'll prevent you from breathing any contaminants in. Always wear a mask, of course. You know, that's the best thing. I got that air filter purifier system going. And that thing is great right there. Bought it at an estate sale. I'm sure they still make these kind of units. This is a Hunter. And look at this thing, man. It shuts off when you take the cover off, but it's a double filter and everything goes in here. I mean, I could already see stuff is building up in between the veins. But yeah, you just gotta be careful. This has tabs on the bottom. You don't want to break those, because those are for the switch, I think, in the bottom. I'm pretty sure there's a switch down there. Let me see, actually. Oh, no. Never mind. I apologize. The switch is right here. So, I guess you got to make sure not to break this tab. Either way, you know, you want to not break anything, so that way it works correctly. And that's it. See, now it's powered back on. You hit the ion button. Well, no, the tornado button. And the ion came on, but this button shuts the ion off, turns it back on. The ion is a metal plate inside that collects a ton of dust through static electricity. So that's a great unit when doing stuff like this. I mean, there's so many ways you can abate dust, prevent dust, if I'm using that word correctly. I choose to do it this way, between the shop vac and that unit, because this is just wood dust. If it was sheetrock or anything else, we'd be wearing tie-back suits, respirators, and glasses. So yeah, safety first, guys. But you know, like, follow, and share. I'm gonna be doing a lot of videos and creating content on do-it-yourself type projects for people that like to save money, that want to make sure they get things done and get it done right. Because, I mean, I had a contractor in here, and I might go into more detail about it. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. I'm not going to say any names, but he was doing horrific work. In the beginning, he was doing great work. But then as time was going on, he was doing stuff like this. He toenailed this LVL column in. Okay, and I'm not a contractor. I've done contractor work for years. Limited. You know, I could build a whole staircase. I could frame walls. I could frame a whole house. I know how to use the measuring tape. I know how to use saws. I got all the tools. And I told him, you know, I believe this column should have like a Simpson strap or something like that. And he's like, no, it's perfectly fine. And look at how he butchered the top of the beam. That's supposed to be 100% seated. So right now it's only 25% seated. It's only 25% seated. So this column has to come out. And not only that, it'll have to come out anyway because the Simpson strap, I believe, goes around here and comes down on the sides. So the only way to get it on here is to take the column out, put it on, and then put the column back in and nail it all in. So when he put this LVL beam in, he put it higher than the rafters. And there was a hump in the floor upstairs. And then he tried to tell me, oh, it's your house. Your house is old. And I said, no, man, you're doing this wrong. And he had to take all the straps out, lower the floor down. And how that happened was when he put the temporary walls in on each side, he didn't measure the studs correctly. And he just jammed them in with the hammer. And I noticed that they were pressing up against the sheetrock in places higher than other places. So when he cut these rafters, the floor bumped up on each side. And then he put the beam in, had his son do the straps. He went to lunch. His son doesn't know how to do this stuff. And I came back home and I saw the huge gap between the floor. I went upstairs and I saw the hump in the floor and I nearly lost it. I nearly had a heart attack. We were paying a lot of money and we were getting poor quality work. But at the end of the day, like, he did this wall. He did a beautiful job. So he knows what he's doing. And I feel there was some kind of something going on here where his conscience was fighting him on taking our money and not doing a proper job. So I believe that's the justification for some good work. And then I believe that's the justification for the poor work. Like a column like that got toenailed and the blueprints say it should have Simpson straps. So, all right, guys. I'm going to try to do more videos in between doing the work. You know, it's hard. I work full-time a lot of hours, and I'm doing this house renovation. I'm going to hire another contractor because I can't do it all myself. But I'm going to try to make at least every day 15-minute videos because that's all I'm allowed till I get verified on YouTube. And I am going to create a Facebook page that'll be strictly for my content. So I hope you guys like, share, follow. And if anything I'm talking about, discussing, teaching people that I'm off or I'm not correct 100%, someone knows a better way, whatever it is, throw it in the comments. I won't get offended. Okay, I don't get offended by constructive criticism. And if I'm wrong, and I'll admit it, you know. And if I'm right, I'll fight tooth and nail that I'm right, you know. And that's just the way I am. But I'm always open-minded, and I love new ideas and so on. Together, as you know, a whole, everybody could make their lives better if we all create good content and share our knowledge. Have a good one, guys. Like, subscribe, share. Thank you.